This week we'll be flying around the world to try some of the world's worst commutes.
We'll be battling against overcrowded buses, traffic jams and the world's most expensive subway, a far cry from the typical tourist trail.
We are definitely the only tourists on here.
We want to see for ourselves how bad the world's worst commutes really are.
So we'll be travelling to 4 different countries to experience the worst they can throw at us.
But little did we know a terrible commute would be the least of our worries.
No, it's an alligator or a crocodile.
From making friends along the way,
İstihdam paylaş.
Yeah.
Tamam.
Okay.
To learning to embrace the chaos.
Mr. Boss.
There's only one place to start. Welcome to the capital of the UK, London City.
All right, governor.
but before we set foot on a tube, I had a phone call to make to some real-life bona fide London commuters to find out what commuting in London is really like.
Hello mate, I am filming a video at the moment about the world's worst commutes. Could you give me 3 words that you would use to describe commuting on the tube in London?
I'd say hot, sweaty, and armpits.
Hot, frustrating and delayed.
Noisy, overcrowded, disturbing.
The only people that really wear suits in London are obviously bankers and estate agents. And I'm not clever enough to be a banker, so that means I must be selling houses today.
The London Underground is actually the most expensive subway in the world. And even though it's called the London Underground, over 55% of the network is actually above ground.
And if you want to buy a monthly travel card for zones 1 to 6, it will cost you £313.
And if we break that down and you commute to work twice a day, 5 days a week, that's nearly £8 a journey.
I actually used to commute in London for quite a few years and I don't have that many fond memories of it. I remember it being really busy, hectic, chaotic. Everyone is on a mission. It's like zombies.
But despite being hideously overpriced, being a service that literally everybody has to use, and pocketing 2.5 billion worth of ticket sales last year, London still hasn't managed to figure out how to make a profit from the tube.
Make that make sense.
But it's now time to head to a station that is notoriously the worst commute in London.
But before we head south of the river, let me explain this week's game plan. We'll be travelling to 4 different countries to experience the worst commutes around the world. Slot 1 is the world's most expensive subway in London, followed by a brief trip to the world's most congested city. After that, we'll be trying our luck with the world's most confusing public transport network. And finally, we'll head to a country that does commuting very differently, to test one of the world's best commutes. But for now, back to London.
We have done some research and we've discovered that Clapham North to Bank on the Northern Line is said to be the worst commute in London. Packed, busy trains, and we're here to test it.
Okay, I'm suited and booted and we are heading for our first commute. Right, there are a couple of bits of tube etiquette which you need to be aware of. Number 1 is you are not allowed to stand on the left-hand side of the escalator because people rush down them. Number 2, under no circumstances are you allowed to talk to anybody. The fact that I'm even talking to this camera out loud now is making me feel very uncomfortable. But, you know, maybe I'll strike up a conversation.
No, it's just the biggest rule on the tube.
Never talk to anyone.
As we headed into the belly of the underground, we were greeted with a distinctive musky smell and waves of 40-degree heat. But as this was the first time we'd done this in a while, Jade had some delusional optimism.
Other tube etiquettes always give me a seat when I get on and it's crowded.
But this didn't last long, as the first train arrived and it had less space than a Ryanair carry-on.
Oh, this looks hella busy. Oh God. Yeah, well, we'll try. Oh, this looks so busy. I'm not sure we're going to get on. Can we get on there?
I don't think we'll.
They're like in there like those. They're like sardines. The doors won't close. We've had our first introduction.
I'm quite glad that we couldn't get on that one.
We weren't able to get on the first train because that was packed. Maybe we'll move slightly further down.
But As the second train arrived, it was a similar story, packed to the rafters with Claponians.
So one of the reasons Clapham North is so bad is because there's loads of other stops before it, and this is like the last stop in suburbia before you get into central London. So you've got Clapham South, Clapham Common, and then Clapham North, and then you start heading into central London where no one really lives.
Having been down on the platform for around 20 minutes with no hope of boarding a train yet, my £8 journey was looking like a pretty poor investment, but luckily our patience paid off.
Okay, next train approaching.
Might get on this one though, maybe.
Okay, we might be able to squeeze on this one.
Shall I try?
Yeah.
Via Charing Cross, terminating at Mill Hill East.
Back when the tube was first built, it was revolutionary. But in 2025, with no air conditioning, overcrowding, patchy internet, and the cleanliness of a pig farm, prices continue to skyrocket whilst the experience gets worse.
The next station is Oval.
Millions of people are forced to start their day in extremely close proximity to other people's armpits. And it got us thinking.
We survived. I wouldn't want to do that every day.
We have now made it to Bank Station, from Clapham North to Bank, supposedly London's worst commute.
But there is something that makes this commute bearable, and that is the morning ritual of getting a very expensive coffee en route to the office. I actually shudder to think how much money people spend doing this.
It's surprising that anyone has any money left to get a coffee after being fleeced on the tube.
But it's worth it. Small pleasures for a stressful journey.
Could I get a black Americano, please?
The commute now feels a very long time ago, now that I'm here with my coffee. But it has made me think, is this really the way that we should be spending our mornings? There just has to be a better way to get to work, to start the day. And is it just London that has this crazy commute, or is it the same in other cities and countries around the world? But I think it is going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Because we're about to get on a flight to a new city and experience another commute, which might even be worse than London.
Our next stop is a city where traffic jam is the national dish. And it will give us perspective on whether the London commute is actually as bad as we're making out. Or is it a case of better the devil you know?
Welcome to Istanbul. I was about to say welcome to the capital of Turkey, but it isn't the capital of Turkey. I can't even remember what the capital of Turkey is, but it's not Istanbul.
David Attenborough would not be impressed with that.
And the capital of Turkey is, what is it?
Bodrum.
Yeah, I think it's Marmaris. We'll fact check that.
Istanbul is Europe's most populated city. There's over 16 million people living here. It is also built on 7 hills, which means it is extremely hilly to walk around.
Istanbul is also famous for having loads of wildlife roaming around the streets, mainly cats, but also dogs.
The dogs are very friendly, it's the cats you have to be scared of here, whereas normally the opposite.
Istanbul is a very complicated and massive city. It is super old, so most of the infrastructure was actually created years and years ago, so it wasn't designed for modern traffic. There are so many sharp corners and small lanes, and as you walk around you can tell it is an ancient place and it is not designed for the amount of traffic that currently runs through it, which poses some problems.
No instruments on this road, no big trumpets.
What does it actually mean though?
Oh, I only just realised it actually means no beeping. I really thought that did mean no trumpets.
If you need a sign to tell you not to honk your horn, then there must be a honking horn problem. Not only is Istanbul the most populated city in the whole of Europe, but it holds another very special title. It won the most congested city in the world in 2024, which means people spend more time stuck in traffic in Istanbul than they do anywhere else. And as you can see behind me, there is a traffic jam. So they weren't lying. You turn a corner, there's another traffic jam. Check this one out. Cars, and then the cars go all the way down here. Well, we are going to be trying the worst commute in Istanbul, a cross-continental commute.
But first, let's explain how that's even possible.
Turkey is a country that sits across two different continents, Europe and Asia.
And Istanbul sits right on the border, meaning that it's the only major city in the world that straddles two different continents.
Cross-continental commutes are a daily occurrence, and Istanbul has been voted the most congested city in the world. Drivers lose on average 105 hours to traffic jams every year.
And because of all the bad traffic, there is a common complaint that taxis can be really unreliable and overcharge for short journeys.
So to put Istanbul's commute to the test, we're going to wait till rush hour this evening. We're going to head over to the Asian side of the city, and then we're going to try and commute all the way over to the European side.
I'm actually quite nervous about it. Nobody would actively choose to do this. Like, most people have no choice. They have to do it because it's their commute. We're going out of our way to do it at the busiest time.
The two things I'm worried about are, number one, how long is it going to take? Because apparently the congestion is the worst on the bridges of Istanbul. And number two, how much is this going to cost us? But whilst we wait for rush hour, we're actually going to show you a nice tradition that Turkish people do multiple times a day that makes their commute that little bit nicer.
If you think that drinking tea back at home is popular, then you need to come to Turkey because tea here is a way of life.
When I think of Turkey, there are a few things that come to mind. It is package holidays, extremely flamboyant and quite aggressive football fans. I also think of hair transplants, but always on the top of my list is Turkish tea. Everyone drinks it, and everyone drinks a lot of it.
We asked somebody the other day how many cups of tea Turkish people drink a day, and they said 15.
Something else that Turkey is famous for, and Istanbul specifically, is kebabs. We haven't got a kebab actually, we've got a durum, but they're basically the same thing, aren't they? This is probably my favourite food. But this is the calm before the storm because we are about to try and attempt an intercontinental commute. So let's finish this and then let's get on the move. Just a guy welding. Okay, first things first, we need to actually get over to the Asian side. So we're going to try and catch a commuter ferry that's going to take us all the way over there.
A few moments later.
All right, we have made it over to the Asian side, and that is phase one of the plan complete. And to be honest, the ferry was actually really nice. There was a man with a guitar, there was a nice views, the sun was shining. But now phase two is going to be a little bit more arduous.
First things first, we need to set our timer to see exactly how long this is about to take. We're going. So it's currently 6 p.m. and we've been told that the rush hour is worse between 6 and 7. So this is perfect timing. So we've been told that there is an app called Traffic Istanbul, and it basically tells you the worst roads for traffic in the city. Right now, most of the roads are red.
This journey should cost us about 800 Turkish lira, which is around £18. But we do know that taxi drivers in Istanbul like to rake up the prices for tourists and during rush hour. So let's see how much they say this is going to cost us. Hello. How much to Taksim Square?
After a short negotiation, the best price I could get from taxi number one was 1,500, which is £29.
On to the next one. Hello.
But luckily, taxi 2 was a little bit more reasonable.
Hello, how much to Taksim Square? Oh, 1,000.
So we hopped in and braced ourselves for the very worst of Istanbul's traffic.
What's your name? Your name?
My name is Tarkan.
Tarkan.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Nice
Ryan.
to meet you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for taking us. What's the traffic like? Is it good?
No English.
No English. Okay, no problem.
Yes, Turkish.
No problem. Just Turkish. Okay.
Sorry.
No. Don't apologise. I've been quoted a price, but I think that was like an estimate. I think it's on a meter. I think the meter's in the rear view mirror.
It didn't take long for us to realise this was going to be a long day.
So it's been 30 minutes and we haven't actually left the Asia side where we started yet. And we've not even made it to the bridge, which we've been told they're the worst bits.
But we did spot something out of the window that gave us a bit of perspective.
So maybe there is a worse commute because this bus is also sat in the same traffic as us.
Despite not speaking the best English, all this time in the back of the cab gave us a chance to bond with Tata the taxi driver.
All right, we're getting a kebab shop recommendation from the taxi guy. Big Galatasaray fan. But he didn't like it when I said I was a fan of Jose Mourinho. Okay, what are you saying? Nice, clean, quality place. Take her for dinner.
Perfect.
Nice, okay. You can't have too many kebabs. The bad news is that I can see why it is the most congested city in the world. The good news is that we have Max Verstappen driving us.
No problem, okay?
You're like Lewis Hamilton.
No.
Max Verstappen.
Yes.
This guy's an undiscovered F1 talent. Yes, yes, yes.
This welcome distraction passed the time, and before we knew it, we were on the move.
All right, we seem to be out of the traffic now, and we are whizzing along. I think we're about to go over the bridge.
Oh, really?
Is this the bridge? The bridge?
Yes.
Big bridge. Ah, nice.
Köprü. This is Köprü.
We're now crossing a bridge from Asia back into Europe.
And just like that, our commute was over.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
But before figuring out how much it cost and how long it took, Tata the taxi guy wanted to say a proper goodbye.
Instagram paylaş. Instagram'da.
The photo of the car?
Yes, Instagram, okay?
Yeah.
Tamam.
Okay.
Give me a wave as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. What a guy. All right. How long did it take?
1 hour and 7 minutes. And you know what? It was busy and there was a lot of traffic, but our driver made that journey.
What an absolute ledge. Shout out Takam.
So we set off from Asia and it was daytime. We've now been dropped off in Europe and it is now nighttime. It took over an hour to do that journey and it's quite a short distance. Now the night is ours. We've clocked off work, we've done our commute. Let's enjoy Istanbul, and the next time you see us, we'll be doing an even worse commute than this.
Okay, before we try the world's best commute, we had one final stop on our world tour. We were heading to a city that makes the humidity on the London Underground feel comfortable.
Start sweating for no real reason. You could just be stood here and all of a sudden you're dripping wet.
In a country that has birthed some of the world's most talented ping pong players. And apparently extremely misleading advertising.
When was the last time you had a Grab driver that turned up looking like this? Tell me when.
It's Kim Kardashian.
I don't know if you can tell, but we have made it to the city of Bangkok.
It's good to be back.
It is a hot one today.
Bangkok is the biggest and the capital city of Thailand. Over 10 million people live here, which makes it one of the largest cities in Southeast Asia.
It's also known for its tropical climate, so all year round it is hot and humid.
Which is perfect for a commute.
Bangkok has really heavy traffic all around the clock, so really short journeys can take forever. So people rely on motorbikes and public transport like the SkyTrain to get around the city efficiently.
But today we won't be needing any of those because we are going old school.
Bangkok's bus network is one of the most confusing in the world.
There's one now.
So first, let's explain.
Why are Bangkok buses so confusing?
First of all, there is no bus timetable or schedule of any description.
They just run whenever they want.
Which means catching a bus in Bangkok can be extremely unpredictable. You could be waiting at the bus stop for ages.
Each bus is identified by a number, but to add to the confusion, they're also colour-coded.
For example, red buses are non-air conditioned and blue buses have air conditioning, but the colours also represent the fare structure of the bus themselves.
But there is no centralised system which tells you all this information. You just have to figure it out as you go, making it confusing even for locals.
But the one big problem with Bangkok buses is the traffic. They have no way of weaving in and out, so you could be stuck on a bus for hours not moving. And if you don't have aircon, it can be extremely uncomfortable. But without further ado, let's go and check out some of these Bangkok buses. And let's go and try the worst bus in Bangkok. So bus route number 8 is notorious for being pretty bad.
Two of the drivers of this bus once had a fist fight about who could get the most passengers onto their bus.
Not good publicity for bus route number 8. The year after that happened, there was another incident that was also captured on social media that rose a few eyebrows. Bus number 8 ran through a level crossing.
And the governing body of transport for Thailand deemed that the buses weren't safe to run, and so they actually got cancelled. But luckily for us, they're back on the road again.
It's 5 o'clock here in Bangkok, the middle of rush hour. We're gonna get a tuk-tuk to the bus stop, and then we're gonna try and find this bus.
One obstacle before we even catch the tuk-tuk is how much is this gonna cost? Because tuk-tuks out here are lawless. They can charge whatever they want.
I've got no idea what is a good price for this journey. It's an 8-minute drive, so surely it should be, well, it should be less than a tenner. It should be less than a fiver.
We're about to find out. Hello!
Tuk-tuks are a very popular way to get around Thailand, especially Bangkok. They can weave in and out of the traffic, so actually during rush hour, they're a little bit more nippy than getting a taxi. They're also a lot more fun and a lot more bumpy. This guy doesn't have any music, but they also can have some crazy music blasting out of them as well, depending on which one you get.
There is no doubt that this is the most fun way to travel around Bangkok. Also, this is taking me back. We were last here about 10 years ago, whipping around Bangkok on tuk-tuks, and we're back again, and it feels just as fun.
But just as things were going smoothly, we hit a minor snag.
I think he's lost.
Yeah, my man's just lost the directions. What are we saying? You know where we're going? Easy. But before we knew it, the problem was solved and we were on our way to the bus stop. But this is the calm before the storm, I think, because this is the fun way to get around Thailand. I'm not sure about the bus we're about to get on. We have successfully managed to get a tuk-tuk to the Golden Mountain, which is very impressive. But this is our start point. We are now going to try and navigate our way back to our hotel only using Bangkok buses. Wish us luck. I don't think this is going to be that easy. I haven't even got on a bus yet, and I am dripping wet. How do you feel?
The same. Like the sun is setting, and I feel like it's actually getting hotter.
And I'm wearing a white t-shirt, so it could turn into a wet t-shirt competition before nightfall. So stick around, folks. Okay, perfect. We have reached the bus stop. And to be fair, all of this is actually in English and Thai.
We've just observed what's happened when a bus arrived, and it looks like people just get on and it starts moving before people have even properly got on.
But we were waiting for one bus in particular. And surprise, surprise, it was the only one that was nowhere to be seen.
Throughout our whole time in Bangkok, I feel like we've seen so many of these buses, but now that we actually want to get on one, nothing has gone past. I don't know how much longer we'll have to wait.
Still waiting.
I actually thought one would have been here by now.
Buses are a little unreliable. They don't really stick to a schedule. And right now, it's looking like that's kind of true. It's probably just stuck in traffic.
Bangkok buses only use cash, and whilst we waited, I realised I only had high denomination notes on me.
Ryan has gone to break some change at 7-Eleven because I think our notes might have been too big, and as he has done it, the bus has arrived. Missed the bus.
I was getting a Coca-Cola. My sugar levels are down because I'm so sweaty.
We only had to wait a few more minutes because against all logic, there was another bus right behind.
Okay, the bus has arrived. The bus has arrived. The main thing is that we just need to get on it. It looks like it's stopping.
Yeah.
Oh, this lady stopped it for us. Okay, let's get on. Oh, nearly left without you. It's not that busy, so there's quite a lot of spare seats. Oh, we have to pay now, right?
We are on board the bus and I've just paid for 2 tickets for one journey. And it costs 16 baht, which is unbelievably, I need to double check this actually. And that is 37p for 2 people for one journey. We have gone from London, the most expensive public transport network in the world, to 37p a journey.
There is a system when you get on this bus. You actually get assigned a seat by the conductor who is on here, and she shows you where to sit. So it's not a free-for-all,
It's actually quite well thought out, and I reckon we've got the best seats in the house.
There is no aircon on this bus, it's very noisy, but it's pretty comfortable.
We're definitely the only tourists on here. I feel as though we're seeing Bangkok now from a completely different perspective than what we have been. We've been on the SkyTrain, which is air conditioned and super modern, and now we're on the bus system, which has been here for years and years and years, and it's a really cool way to see it.
I actually don't have that much of a clue where we're going at the moment, but I am enjoying it.
As this is our last journey before moving on to the world's best commute, maybe we were being overly positive, but as we whipped around Bangkok, it just made us feel sorry for commuters in London.
Bear in mind, it's about 35 degrees, humidity is like 90%. This is probably cooler than the tube is. The London tube could do with some conductors actually, because otherwise you get those passive aggressive people that like shout, move down in the carriage. London could learn a lot from Bangkok. I think it's about to get busy. Some workers have just got on, and I haven't been working today, and I'm sat down and they're all stood up, so I feel like I should give my seat up really. Gotta be quick. We are off the bus now, and I was anticipating to get completely lost on this journey back. There's been some sort of miracle really. We've headed in completely the right direction and we're much closer to our hotel now. But we had to get off there and we have to change bus. So we have to wait for another bus now to take us the next leg of the journey. I'm not sure about doing it every day, but it is fun. It's also crazy cheap. Besides the heat on board, this has been pretty fun. I was expecting these buses to be hammered. It's 5 o'clock, it's rush hour, and there's not that many people on it. Maybe we're going against the traffic. By some sort of miracle, bus number 2 is also going in exactly the right way we need to go. This could be quite a short and easy journey after all that. It is moving very slowly now. The Bangkok traffic is biting back.
Maybe it was just pot luck, or maybe it's an urban myth, but just like that, our journey on the world's most confusing bus network came to a close, and it wasn't what we were expecting.
We are off bus number 2, and we're now in walking distance of our hotel. I can't believe that our journey has only taken us about 45 minutes, and to be honest, it was pretty seamless.
Well, it was, until Jade saw this.
No, I do not. That is crazy. It's an alligator or a crocodile. It's in the middle of Bangkok, and I reckon they move fast. This is the thing, you don't get this on a commute in the UK. You don't hop off the bus and see I don't even know what it is, a monster of the sea. We have survived what was meant to be one of the world's worst commutes, and surprisingly, that was very fun.
One thing I did like about the buses in Bangkok were the flooring. It felt like you were on board a ship because they were made out of wood.
Yeah, that was actually quite interesting. Maybe it's because it's novel and something new that it felt fun, but I was expecting that to be really, really bad. And surprisingly, it wasn't.
I definitely don't think this is one of the worst commutes in the world, but we're now done in Bangkok and we're sick of doing bad commutes. We're going to fly somewhere else and we're going to show you what commuting can be like.
We want to try the best commutes, one of the most futuristic commutes. See you in Hong Kong.
Having ticked off 3 bad commutes around the world, one thing we've learned is that how good or bad your commute is totally subjective. Some people find peace reading a book on the tube, and drivers in Istanbul make friends with each other out of the window while stuck in traffic. And the same goes for our final journey. It's not for everyone, but we think it's definitely one of the most ingenious commutes in the world.
We have made it to our final stop of this trip, and quite frankly, we are sick of the worst commutes. So we're about to try what we think is one of the world's best commutes, and probably one of the world's most fun commutes.
Hong Kong is one of the most densely populated places in the world. It's one of the most expensive places to buy a house in the world. and it's extremely hilly. We're currently wandering up the winding streets and they're like a 45-degree angle. They are extremely steep. Oh, I'm blowing.
For that very reason, they have a very unique commuting system. Lots and lots and lots of escalators helping people to get to and from work every day.
They have built one of the world's longest escalators that goes right from the bottom of Hong Kong Island right to the top. It is used by thousands of people every single day. It's free to use, and it's a real feat of engineering. So let's go and try it. There are no steps on the escalator, it's more like a travelator. There's bars and restaurants all the way along the escalator, so you can jump off, go for a drink, and jump back on. It is used by almost every person in Hong Kong, and is very busy right now. And it's not even rush hour.
And that's our final commute done. If you think your commute is worse than any of these, then comment and let us know where.
And we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.